sweet potato roll, una avo roll from my favorite local Japanese restaurant. And then I am gonna treat myself to some cookies and cream parfait. And I actually don't really drink soda. Yeah, not very often, but I have some here just because I thought the bubbly, sparkling sounds would be nice. I hope the mic picked that up. I have an itty bitty mic on my dress right now. I use magnets to put it on the collar, but it's lower than I usually have it, so I hope it can still pick up the sounds nicely. Okay, I'll get started with the miso soup. I wanted to plate this a bit nicer than the plastic takeout box, but I don't really have any nice plating for sushi. So what you see here for the miso soup is actually my husband's matcha cup, I guess you can call it. He drinks matcha almost every day, and when he makes it at home, this is what he uses. And then for the sushi rolls, what you're seeing is a little cheese board or charcuterie board that I got for Secret Santa maybe 2 years ago. But isn't it so cute how the soy sauce fits in the shape of a heart into these little handles? I thought that was nice. Okay. I hope you're having a good week. This is so tasty. I really like miso soup. I had a really good week, though it was quite hectic. I think I mentioned in one of my videos that I'm an elementary school teacher and I signed up to teach summer school this year. And so this week was the last week for summer school. It actually went by way faster than I expected. And because it was the end of summer school, I had to pack up my classroom. in my building designed carnival type games, and then we put them all together in the gym at school, and we brought the kids down to play, and it was like a little homemade carnival. Our theme for summer school was flight, and so we, during all of the summer, learned a lot about flight and the history of flight. And so on the last day, we had a paper airplane competition, and that was really fun. And then we also got to go to the playground and play for a bit. So, yeah, it was a great last week. Now that summer school is over, I'm finally on vacation. And so next week I'm gonna go to France with my husband, and some of our friends and his family from the UK is meeting us there as well. We are going to France with family and friends, most of whom couldn't join us for our actual wedding ceremony in New York. But, because a lot of them are in the UK, since my partner is English, then it's easier for them to get to France. So the trip is going to be a vacation holiday slash second wedding ceremony to celebrate with them. That was delicious. Okay, let's move on to the sushi rolls now. I'm gonna use these red chopsticks that I have at home. My husband and I got these. We got 2 sets, one for each of us, at a wedding of one of his friends that we attended. Isn't this so cute? These are like the fanciest chopsticks I've ever owned, because everything else is just, those like disposable ones you get with takeout. Now, please don't judge me. I have heard from multiple people that I don't hold my chopsticks the right way, but this is the only way I ever learned how to hold them, and I think it'd be too hard for me now to learn how to hold them differently. So these are sweet potato rolls, and they're so tasty. I'm one of those people that literally orders the same thing every time I go to a restaurant. Once I figure out what my favorite dish they have is, every time I go I just get the same thing. week of August, even though they don't pay me for it, but I usually just go in anyway to set up my classroom because it's a lot of work. And like contractually, they pay us to come in 2 days before the kids start school to set up the classroom. But then admin, like your principal, usually schedules a few like PDs, like professional development sessions during those 2 days. And so really they end up giving you like maybe like 4 hours to set up your classroom, which, I mean, if you've never set up a classroom, it's not enough at all. It usually takes me at the very least some like 3 full days to set up, but I don't really mind going a week before school starts. I rather do that and have peace of mind that I'm ready for the school year than, not do it and then like be stressing out about the fact that kids are showing up, in a couple days to my room and the room is not ready for them. Okay, so this one is una avo roll, which is eel and avocado roll. It's also delicious. I try to eat mostly a vegetarian diet. I think I've been mostly vegetarian for maybe like almost a decade, really. Maybe like 8 to 10 years. Um, but tuna and eel are two exceptions that I make. Um, they're just like the two things that I still eat. Um, I've heard some people say, like the term is pescatarian, which I guess, I could say I'm pescatarian, but I don't really like any other type of fish. I just eat tuna, not even like fancy tuna, like canned tuna, like for like tuna sandwiches and stuff like that. And then eel usually, and rolls, or I forget what they call them. I think rice balls. Eel rice balls. Those are also tasty. I've Even though I've never really tried to be vegan, there's a lot of foods that like animal byproducts, is that what they're called, that I don't really eat just because I don't like them that much. So I rarely really drink milk, for example. I rarely eat eggs. Um, I don't consume those as much. But I never really tried to go fully vegan just because I like cheese so much. So that really is the thing that does it for me. I love cheese. barbecue at our building, and he was there, and he lived in the same building as my best friend, and they had actually decided to co-host this barbecue together. He had been friends with my best friend for a while, maybe like even close to a year, but somehow I still had never heard of him. um, and the story of how they met is actually also pretty funny. Um, my best friend, she wanted her. She's married now, but at the time, she wasn't. So she wanted her boyfriend at the time, who is now her husband. She wanted him to socialize some more, and so um, my husband had posted on the building app, on the building group. He had posted saying, "Hey, I like running. If anyone, wants to join me for a run, um, let me know." And so my friend replied as her boyfriend and said, "Yes, let's go running together." And then she forced her boyfriend to go running with my husband. Um, and so her boyfriend and my husband became friends. Because I think I told you guys in one of my other videos, like, my whole circle is very healthy. They all love running, marathons, and exercising and stuff like that. So then they bonded over running. And then so anyway, fast forward like a year later, they ended up co-hosting this barbecue together at the rooftop of their building during the summer. And my best friend invited me to come. And so I met my husband at the barbecue, and I thought he was a really cool guy. We got to chatting a bit, and he seemed very cool. And he's English, so he had a really cool accent. But I don't know why, for some reason, I was convinced that he was gay, and part of me is actually glad that I thought this at the time, because I'm pretty shy. I'm actually quite shy, when it comes to like a guy that I like, or that I think he might be into me, or like like flirting, or like I would never. I have too much anxiety for that. Which, side note, my social anxiety is one of the reasons that I got into ASMR. That really helped with that. um, but I'm really happy now that I thought at the time that he was gay, because that means I felt like no pressure. First of all, I felt super comfortable like chatting with him the whole day, and we had a great time, just like chatting. And so when the barbecue was sort of coming to an end, I think there were a few people still there, but I decided it was time to head home. So I said goodbye to everyone, and I got into the elevator, went all the way down to the lobby of the building, and I walked maybe like a whole block. I was already a block away, because I was walking on my way to take the train to go back home, when he came running out of the said she's really into museums. And so he was like, okay. And so he decided to take me to the exhibit, which I absolutely loved. And then afterwards, we went to get dessert. Oh, my friend told him she's into museums and dessert. So he did the two things I loved. And to be honest with you, like, he had me from day one. He was such a gentleman. He was very funny. Um, he's very handsome, and we just clicked so easily. And I mentioned before, I actually have a lot of like anxiety when it comes to like social situations like that, like going on a date. And I'm very shy, but with him from the get-go, I felt really comfortable. And so, yeah, we kept talking. We went out a couple more times. And if you have seen my magnets video, you already know that after our third date, I had planned a girls' trip with my best friend, the one that hosted the barbecue. And 2 days before the trip, she broke her ankle, and she said, I can't go on the trip anymore. And so she suggested that I invite him. And so our fourth date was actually us taking a 2-week trip to Portugal together. So yeah, I mean, she introduced us, and then she basically was the reason why we ended up going on a 2-week trip for our fourth date. So I really owe her a lot. We are basically together thanks to her. I'm sorry if I keep fixing my hair. I'm like afraid that my hair is gonna somehow touch the mic and mess with the sound or something. And then I think about maybe 2 years in, cookies and cream Hershey bar. Though my favorite chocolate is Crunch. Oh wow, this is so good, guys. This is actually the first time I ever buy this dessert. I just got it at my local supermarket on my way home. But now I'm feeling like it's dangerous that I know this exists, because now I'm gonna be tempted to buy it more often. Okay, friends, I cannot have any more of this dessert. So thank you so much